everybody. Thank you for joining me for another edition of the Apostolic Hour. It is a delight to be with you. I'm Apostle Morris S. Richardson. As always, amen. I'm thankful for you being a part of my listening audience. And I want to, amen, take some time this afternoon just to share. We are in the midst of a pandemic recovery all over the world. People are getting better. The vaccine is taking root. People are going back to work. People are starting new endeavors. Amen. The church is coming back. There's a lot is going on, and I want to just take a few moments tonight and just speak on a few things that I think are relevant to us post-pandemic, and I pray that what I have to share will be a blessing to you. Let me start before I get going too far by congratulating all of our candidates here in our city who won election on last night. We have a good crop of brand new council persons, also a brand new mayor, and I just want to congratulate all of them on their new offices, and it is my prayer that they would use those offices to better our city, better our citizens, to create jobs, wealth, and prosperity for the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County. So with that being said, I want to do a quick prayer. Father, bless me these next few moments. Let me speak life. Let me speak wisdom. Let me say some things that will provoke those that are listening to do better in this next season. In Jesus' name, amen. And if you need a subject, I'm just going to do some post-pandemic discussion. That's all I want to do tonight. Just a few, no preaching, no real teaching. I just want to talk about a few things that I think are important. These are just things I think you might want to know as we move back into life post-pandemically. Now, I just mentioned that we got a new slate of council persons and a new mayor here in our city, and we have voted. People have voted. From what I see, the people voted for change, and I think it is very important that we now hold the people that have been elected accountable. You put them in office. You gave them your vote. They promised you that if you did, they would work for certain things. And let me say this. Sometimes when a candidate says, here's what I want to do, they don't always succeed. But they need to at least be held accountable to working towards that endeavor. And even if they don't get all the things that they campaigned on accomplished, they should spend the next 4 years working on those things. And we ought to be able to see where they at least try to get those things accomplished, even if they fail short. And if they're working toward the cause and doing the things, working toward the cause they promised the people, and they're endeavoring to make that happen, then that's a candidate that is trying to earn your trust. That's a candidate who's trying to earn your trust. And when the election rolls back around in 4 years and it's time to vote again, you want to look at those candidates who spent the last 4 years trying to fulfill the pledges that they made to the people when they were elected. So we have voted, certain people have been put in office, and now it becomes your responsibility, as only citizens can do, is to hold those people accountable for what they said they would do, what they said they would work on, what they said their goals and aims are, and whether they succeed at those or not. We ought to at least over the next 4 years see them working toward that cause and trying to make it become fruition for the men and women of our city. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Congratulations once again to all of you that have been elected as new officers. Now, I want to mention quickly one area that I think the city needs focus. Two areas, really. uh, and they kind of go together. Now, here in Meridian, we've had pretty broad tearing down across the spectrum. We've had dilapidated houses, old buildings, that has happened pretty much across the city. That's a good thing. We've tried to tear down the buildings and properties that did not look good. We tried to get those eyesores out of the way. Where I think our city has lacked at is there's been very little done as far as finding ways to put housing, single family housing, back in the city. There's been very little or no effort at rebuilding where houses have been torn down or removed. Now, that doesn't happen. Now, if you look at the south end, you look at east end, you look at the west side, nothing's being rebuilt in those areas. If you go to North Hills, everything is being rebuilt. It's just, so our officials are going to have to be held accountable at making sure that single family housing, and when I say it that way because I'm not talking about projects. I'm talking about housing. I don't mind it being some little small, condo-like buildings, but we don't want to do projects where you got people piled on top of each other. We don't want that kind of house. But we need single-family housings, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom housing, small condos that can be rented out for a reasonable amount. Those are some of the things that are needed in the inner city. And if the inner city is going to stay strong and people are going to keep living in there, then we're going to have legislators who see it a priority to get that kind of housing back in the city. While we're working on railroads and different things like that, we're putting all this infrastructure in right now, which is great. But if we're going to put the infrastructure in, then we need the housing with that. You put the infrastructure with some housing, affordable housing, and then it's going to cause the inner city to boom and to grow, and it's going to cause people to move back within the city. So those are some things I think are very important to what needs to happen in our city post-pandemically. Now, if you are a renter, a homeowner, and let's say you're thinking about either buying a home or refinancing a home, this is the time to do it now. Interest rates are pretty darn cheap right now. They're about as cheap as they're going to ever be. But hear me real good. Toward the end of the year, first of next year, interest rates are going to go up. What we're seeing right now in interest rate, it will not last. The government right now is kind of keeping interest rates suppressed so that the economy can keep recovering, but this is not going to last. There's already some discussion about what effect inflation is having already. Certain prices are going up, food is going up, gas is going up. There's already a slow tick up of everyday living items, everyday food, everyday living items. So that's already started, and probably toward the end of the year, banks have pretty much had interest rates at nearly zero for 5, 6, 7 years. So with a little inflation going, that's probably going to be eased up, and I see interest rates beginning to start ticking back up toward the latter part of this year, no later than the early part of next year. Just trust me, that's going to happen. So if you're trying to refinance a home, if you're trying to refinance or you're trying to buy a home, or if you got a something, and what you're paying it, but it's a little bit, or a little bit too much for you, or it's pushing you every month, and you're thinking about refinancing. Right now is the best time to think about those options because you're probably not going to get another opportunity from an interest standpoint than what you can get right now. So those are the things you want to start looking into. You want to call your bank, and then if you know, sometimes, what I found is that sometimes you can't get it done locally. There's some awesome companies like Quicken and Robinhood and not Robinhood, Rocket Mortgage, and there's various some of these mortgage companies that kind of do mortgages in all 50 states. They're connected with a lot of banks. If you can't get it did locally, or they seem to be giving you a hassle, and you got the right credit score, and you've been on time in your payments, you can't seem to get it done. Those type companies do a good job of matching you with banks that have a little bit more flexibility, that's not doing things from a local view, but they try to stay in line with the national average and so forth. And you'll find out you can get a lot of loans done through one of those type companies that sometimes you can't get done at home. So look at those options if you're trying to refinance, or you're trying to buy a home. Quicken Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage. There's a couple of more I can't think of right now, but those are excellent companies to buy or refi, and they'll do a good job for you. All right? Now, one of the discussions that are going on right now, they're saying people aren't going back to work because of unemployment. And that shows you just how out of touch people are. Now, unemployment has been considerably high over the last couple of years, but it was high because people were not working at all, and it took that for people to live while the pandemic was going on. Most of us were not going to work at all. Children were out of school. Colleges had shut down. So it took that, number one, to stabilize the economy. And let me say this, what the money that was given out during the pandemic, people wasn't asking for that. The president at that time took it upon himself and the Congress, and they decided to give that money out during that time. Nobody was out trying to get money or trying to. That wasn't did for use so much. That was done to keep the economy from bottoming out. And as you can see right now, the U.S. economy is doing quite well because they propped it up with money. So they took the money to prop up the economy, and after they got the economy propped up and it's doing well, they're now complaining because you're not at work. And what a lot of them don't understand is that a lot of these jobs that people were working before the pandemic, people are probably not going back to a lot of these jobs. It's not that they're having a hard time getting people back. It's that people's not coming back. A lot of people learned a lot of things during the pandemic. They learned different ways of making money. Some of the companies that I think really blossomed during this pandemic were companies like Uber, Waiter. There's another company, one other food company that pick up food. Was it Uber and DoorDash? These companies did exceptionally well during the pandemic, and it opened people's eyes. I know young men and young women who are making $600 to $800 per week doing DoorDash and Uber and Waiter, those kinds of businesses, and they get up and put in 8-9 hours a day delivering food and packages, and delivering the food plus the tips, and then they're able to take off a couple of days a week and not do anything, and they're doing quite well doing that. Well, they're able to set their own schedules, they're able to set their own hours. If they need a day off, they can just take it. And because of that, they're not going back to their regular job. They like what they're doing, they like the money, and there's a lot of jobs that came to the forefront. Like a lot of people began to do jobs, from their computer at home, and billing and advertisement and marketing from home, and they did well with it. So those people are not going. They're not going back to, the restaurant or like. So people are complaining about things, and they don't realize that the pandemic forced people to look for alternative ways of working. And if you're gonna get people back, then one of the things we have right now, wages will have to go up. I was listening to McDonald's here just a week ago, and McDonald's has now said that their entry level pay is going to be between around $11 an hour, and then for their managers, the entry level is going to be like 15 an hour. Well, that's changing the game, and it's going to be the stores and restaurants that's willing to pay for good employment, pay to have the best people on your team. You have to pay them a little bit more, and that's kind of where things are going. The minimum wage has been at $7, $8 for way too long, and I understand local business. I've been a local business owner for many, many years. I understand wage, but to keep the best people, you have to pay a little money. Nobody's going to stay with you for minimum wage. As soon as they find a job that pays more, where they can put a little bit of food on the table for the kids, they're going to leave. So from an employer standpoint and from an employment standpoint, we're going to have to change our way of thinking as it relates to how do we get the best employees and how do we keep them. I notice Walmart now is shifting to, they're making a minimum of 70% of all of their employees full time, because they're losing many of their best employees because they can't get enough hours, so they have to shift back to the old formula of full-time hours, being 40 hours a week, and they're giving they're shifting and making 70 to 75% of their store full-time. There's going to be another 25 to 30% that will be part-time employees. So that's a shift. So you're going to have to give people hours, and you're going to have to pay them decently, and that's kind of where the model is going right now. There's not going to be as many jobs because computers and robots are replacing people. It's computers and robots are replacing people. There's not going to be as many jobs. They try to tell you this stuff about jobs, but the only way there's going to be a lot of jobs coming back is going to be because jobs are being created in new arenas, new territories, new manufacturing that we've never created jobs. That's why I think the wind and solar and those kind of things may be good things for the country to pursue, because that opens up new avenues of jobs. But now, as far as cars and trucks and that kind of, still going to sell a lot of cars, a lot of trucks, but they're not going to need as many employees because they've got machines on assembly lines now that do a lot of the work. Same thing on food and packing stuff. Still going to need some people there to do that, but it's not going to need nearly as many because they got machines now and robots that can do the packing, do it quicker, do it more efficiently, do it safer. It cuts the bottom cost for the employer. So there's just a lot of jobs that are not coming back. What you're going to have to do is find your gift, find your trade, find your niche, find what you do well. And then when you find that, I don't want you to be afraid of partnering in this season. Find what you do well, and then don't be afraid to partner. Don't glorify struggling. Some people struggle and they, well, the Lord taking me through it, and no pain, no gain. And all of that has some merit in some cases. But sometimes we're struggling because we're not making wise business decisions. You're not making a decision to partner or to do things differently. And I don't want you to glorify struggling in this season. Partnering with someone is not a bad thing. Partnering with someone, sharing the overhead, sharing the space, sharing the insurance, sharing the responsibility, that is not always a bad thing. I want you post-pandemically to think resources rather than individuality. Sometimes we think individuality, and we're the only name that's on the door, but we're struggling trying to keep the door open. We're the only name that's on the door, but we're struggling trying to afford the rent or the lease or the mortgage on the door. So I don't want you to treat I don't want you to treat partnership as being a bad thing, and I don't want you to glorify struggling. I want you, struggle if, within reason as much as you need to stay viable and to do what needs to be done. But then don't miss an opportunity to partner with someone. And I understand partnering is sometimes testy. It's sometimes, there's a lot that can happen. But I'm all for it. If you're gonna partner with someone, you sit down, you talk through all the details, you make sure you put everything on the line, then you put it in writing. If it's not in writing, y'all don't have a deal. You put it in writing, you let them sign it, you sign it. That holds everybody to their agreement. You sign, you put in writing what you're to pay, what they're to pay. You put in writing what's expected of them, what's expected of you. And that way, if something comes up where they don't fulfill their responsibility, then you have enough in writing to go to small claims court or to sue and get what you get your fair shake out of the deal. But partnering is good if you can find the right person, one who you can talk through things with, someone who accents what you do and you accent what they do, and they may be strong in some place where you're not strong, and they may have the capital where you may have the smarts, and there's just different reasons why you would partner with someone. And I don't want you to look at partnering as being evil, and I don't want you to look at struggling as being good. In a season post-pandemically, when you're trying to launch a career, when you're trying to move forward, when you're trying to move into ownership, partnering with someone is not bad. If you're two single people, partnering with someone on a home or renting a home or something like that is not bad. A little bit more detail if you're trying to buy a home with someone like that. That may not be good. But if you're renting a home or renting a place to stay, and that place is, let's say, $800 a month, if you can find someone who can partner with you, and you got 2 bedrooms, you got 2 baths, where you both can kind of live your own separate way, and it's $400 a month for each one of you to stay there, partnering is not a bad deal. And what I'm trying to do, I want everybody to think through what you need to do, because as this pandemic ends and interest rate tightens up and inflation kicks in and gas prices goes up and, just everything you got to do, and the money you've been getting from unemployment is cut off, you got to make wise decisions now as to what you're going to do to keep doing well. If you've gained some ground over the last year or 2 years, you don't want to give all that territory back up. And the way you do that is you got to be wise, you got to have wisdom, you got to have smarts, and you got to do what's necessary to stay afloat. Uh, if you're going to buy, if you're in business, you got to rent a place or you got to buy a place, choose low overhead locations. Now, why do I say that? Because the strength of social media is now powerful enough to overcome not having the best location. I still believe in business, you need some location. You need particularly if no more than your location, you need a place where people can come and pick things up or drop things off. And people still like to try stuff on before they buy it. Particularly you women, you like to try stuff on and see how it fits and, prance in the mirror. So you need some location. But location today, you don't have to have a location in the mall or in the crossings or, you can pick a nice location that is comfortable from an overhead standpoint because the power of social media of putting it in front of people and letting them see it is so strong today. Social media is the TV of yesterday. The response that people are getting off social media today, I never got that kind of response when I was on television. Never. The number of people that like your broadcast or comment on your show, so back when we did advertising, one of the questions was, how many people are seeing it? Am I really getting enough viewers for my buck? The thing I love about social media, it's no doubt about who saw it because when they see it, they comment on it, they stress it, they like it, they comment, they say something, they give you a heart or a thumbs up, and it's right there. You can actually just look and see that you are reaching people. They're responding real time and sometimes weeks after them, and you're reaching people, and then that's just generically, and then some of the algorithms that allow you to boost your posts and target certain groups, certain cities, certain demographics, certain income. It's just a powerful tool. So location today for a small business owner is not as critical as it was years ago because of the tools of social media. These are all things you can think about because social media has the power to get you in front of people that you would have never met in your life. It is a powerful, powerful tool. Post-pandemically, you want to gravitate to people that you can learn from. This ain't no time to be hanging out with people because y'all went to the same school and your mama know their mama, and just old simple stuff, You want to gravitate to people you can learn from. As we move forward, wisdom is going to be the item of the day. What you learn, what you know, what you learn to do, the knowledge you've accumulated. And it don't necessarily have to be, college is awesome, but, it don't have to be awesome. We got, vocational schools and tech schools and places you can go and pick up and learn things. We got some powerful resources like Ross College, the junior college. We got MCC, we got EMCC, we got the other colleges going towards Jackson there. Can't think of their name right now, but we got a lot of junior colleges around, places you can go and without sinking yourself into a magnitude of debt, pick up, learn, get an education, get a degree, learn skills, learn trades. Uh, you know, uh, if you're not going to go to college, you can go to vocational school. We got one here locally. We got one going towards Columbus there, East Mississippi. I think no, East Mississippi. I can't think of the name of it now, but they got good sized Votech going up towards Columbus there. Just all around us, uh, find a way to increase your knowledge and wisdom. And then, if nothing else, get around people that when they talk, you learn. When they talk, they say things that you didn't previously know, and they help you to grow, and they help you to become smarter, and they help you educationally, and you learn how to do certain things. Because going forward, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your money. You don't want to waste your resources doing things that are not going to be productive and pay off in your life ongoing. You want to gravitate to people who has wisdom, um, who's not too stingy to share that wisdom, to share that knowledge. Wisdom enables you to build and grow from what you know. Wisdom enables you to build and grow from what you know. So it's one thing to know some things, but wisdom gives you that ability to take what you know and put it into practice, put it in the right place at the right time, and you're able to flourish and grow from what you know based on the wisdom. Wisdom. Get around people who got the wisdom to start a business. Get around people who got the wisdom, to step into a new endeavor. Get around people that's got the wisdom that have a proven record of brainstorming and coming up with new ideas and are not afraid to try new things. You want to be around that kind of atmosphere so it gets off on you and enables you to take your ideas and make them. Young lady in my church, a young lady, I think she's about 16, 17 years old, and she went to the candle business. She makes her own candles, and they just smell great. And I bought a bunch of candles from her, and now she's going out and she's doing little setups and what do they call it when several businesses set up in a place and people come in and get a chance to view. I forget what they call it now, but you know what I'm talking about. And she's doing very well, making her own candles and selling those candles. She's just a young kid. But that entrepreneurial spirit has gotten off on her, and she's stepping out and she's reading books and she's learning how to do new fragrances. She's learning how to make them prettier and smell better, and she's growing. I was able to share with her mom how she can now get her a barcode. Once she get her barcode and begin to stick a barcode label on, the barcode then allows her to be able to sell in stores, because stores can then take the barcode, put it in their system, and they can now ring it up right there at the register because it's got a barcode. It's a 16-year-old girl, but she started some place. She's using the wisdom she's acquiring. She's getting better and better, and then as she get around people, they're giving her just a little bit more here, a little bit more there. And before you know it, amen, she's going to be in a wealthy place because she's getting the wisdom she needs to take what she knows and put it into practice. So gravitate to people who you can learn from. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, I think it's my last thing, I may have one or two more. Manage what you have and use it to continue to increase. Manage what you have. And what am I saying with that? During this pandemic, we got, a few lump sums of money here and there. Some of you, if you're a single lady with kids, you're probably gonna get a few lump sums more. You don't want to waste that money. There's one thing I wish I could just cram down the neck of young people is that when I grew up, I never got the opportunity where I got $5,000 or $10,000 in my hand at one time. Some of you guys are getting that on your income tax. Some of you guys, you got a certain amount of kids, you may have gotten somewhere close to that during the pandemic. And it is just foolishness to get that kind of money, get that kind of resource, and then you don't put some of it back to help you to get ahead and to make some moves in your life. You have to manage your resources. If you don't manage money, money will get away from you. Money has to be managed. Resources has to be managed. When money comes in, you have to give account of that money. You have to say what that money is for. If you don't give that money a mission, if you don't say what it's for, it'll end up being, spent on something that's depreciating. It'll end up being spent on clothes and hair and fingernails and, eating out and, impressing people. And it's happening because when that money came into your hands, you did not give that money an assignment. You did not say, this money is for this. And I've learned over the years, you have to name money. You have to name what it's for. And when you name what it's for, there will be 100 things that come along to try and tempt you to do something else with it. But once you assign that money, you keep that money in the place that you've assigned it to, and until you're able to use it for that assignment, you put it away, you put it in the bank, if you can't hold it, you get it out of your hands and put it in some trusted hands so that it is there when you need it to do what needs to be done. I want to see us after George Floyd and Breonna and all Black Lives Matter, after all the things that's happened during the last year and a half, all the shootings and killings and the grounds we made and turning Georgia blue and turning Arizona and just out of all the things that's happened, I want to see black people do better. I don't want all the labor and the deaths and things we've had to do over the last couple of years. I don't want it all to be for nothing, because after we won the elections and after we got, we were able to shift elections and do some things and get some attention and get some laws passed and get some bad apples, fired. After all of that, we then don't turn around and manage our success so that we keep moving forward. That is what I want to see happen with black people. I want us now to use this post-pandemic and everything we've learned during the pandemic to use it as a stepping stone to move forward, to progress, to do better jobs, to open businesses, to believe in ourselves at a level we've never believed in ourselves before. I want to see our churches step out of the box, begin to do new things. Pastors, if you're just trying to go back to your church and hoop some more and you've missed the whole purpose behind the pandemic, this is a time for you to figure out how you can better serve your community. And a lot of the work that you're going to have to do is not going to be Sunday morning Bible studies. I'm keeping my Bible study in the social media. I will do some Sunday morning services, but I probably won't do every Sunday morning service. Hello, Starford. I hope y'all hear me. But I'm going to take some of those Sunday mornings. I'm going to take some of those study nights, and I want to work in the community. I want to work helping people do better. I want to put on seminars. I want to do some incubator type things where I nourish people in starting a business and growing. Those are the kind of things that I want to do, because the church now has to reach beyond the four walls, and this is not a time to run back to church so I can keep talking to people who are already saved every week. I have to expand my ministry, expand my thought processes, where I figure out how am I helping my community and how am I using what I know about Jesus, what I know about money, what I know about success, what I know about business. What am I doing to empower the next generation so that they don't have to go through some of the things I had to go through trying to develop and grow in business? That has to be our mentality as a people, as a church. And if we do that and we pray and seek God, He will strengthen and give us wisdom, and we will create wealth, and we will do things that the world has never seen. And Black Wall Street will only be a memory of where things started, because God will take us to a place that we have never been before. The Black Wall Street of old was great, but I believe that what God's about to do next is going to be phenomenal. We're about to go to the palace. And I hope you're thinking that way so God can give you ideas about how to get there. All right, in my closing, Mississippi and Alabama. Now, I know we pulled off the mask and everybody's kind of going back to work and everybody's feeling a lot safer, but Mississippi and Alabama are still very low in the number of those that are vaccinated. From what I'm understanding, we are still somewhere around 30% of those who are vaccinated. And I just want to encourage all of you, don't get a false security. People say, well, I don't know about vaccines. Vaccines are nothing new. There's always, as far as you want to go back, there's always been every 10, 15 years, something comes out that we've never seen before, and we've had to create a vaccine for it. This vaccine got created a little quicker because we got technology now, and that we've never had before. So we were able to ramp up some things from a computer standpoint, from a science standpoint, and we were able to get to our goal a lot quicker. But there's nothing new about vaccines. All this stuff about vaccines gonna kill you and all this kind of stuff, it's a bunch of foolishness because vaccines are nothing new. And as long as we're humans on the earth and we're passing fluids and chemicals, and you got people out here, eating, raw food and all that. As long as you got all that kind of stuff going on, there's going to be always something that kind of mutates and comes out that we've never seen. And science will have to go back to the drawing board and find ways of fighting that bacteria, fighting those viruses, and keeping people safe. So don't get caught up in all this stuff. There's nothing new about vaccines. Before, when I was a little boy, I remember getting ready to go to school. I had to go take vaccines for measles and mumps and chicken pox and polio and all. We had to take all that stuff. It's nothing new. This is not the first virus that killed a bunch of people. When polio came out and smallpox, hundreds of thousands of people were killed dead. So this happens periodically, and the vaccines have always been what came along and got us through it. This is one of those times we got a hard-hitting virus that we needed a cure for. Vaccines are available. I want to encourage you, go take the vaccine. Go take the vaccine. I took it. I feel safer. I feel better. My wife took it. My son took it. My daughter took it. I feel safer when we come together. I feel safer when I'm around other people. Go take the vaccine. Not just for yourself, but for those you come in contact with. All right, I hope I said something tonight that has inspired you. I didn't want to preach tonight. I wanted to just come on and talk about some post-pandemic thinking. I'm a thinker. I'm not one of those still think. I think on the go when I'm driving, when I'm doing things, when I'm going through my day. I'm thinking all the time, and then as I do that, certain things become a bit more pressing than others. And I pray tonight I've said some things that have pressured you to look at how you're going into the rest of this year and into next year a little bit differently. And if you'll, amen, take the things that I shared tonight and begin to ponder them in your heart and come up with your own strategy. It's going to be a great year for you, and you're going to come out of this year much better than what you came in. I want to give you the opportunity to give before I go. I do this every week. If you enjoy the broadcast, you enjoy what I share, you enjoy my frankness, my upfrontness, if you enjoy the Apostolic Hour, then I just want to invite you to give a seed, to sow into it. I've already given the information. The information is free, but your support, it does a couple of things. Number one, the support helps us to keep doing what we do. It pays for, the cameras, the lights, everything in here costs a lot. We got a beautiful set here. It wasn't cheap, so it does that. But number two, your giving lets us know that you are getting something from the broadcast. If you want to know the greatest encouragement I get to keep doing what I'm doing is when I hear from you, when you respond to the broadcast, you tell me you were blessed, you tell me the things I said, how they answered questions for you, you tell me how I said something and it answers something you've been pondering in your heart for a number of years, and I speak something, you tell me that it answered a question you had for a number of years. Those kind of things encourage me to the greatest degree, because what they tell me is that the hand of God is on what I'm sharing, what I'm talking about, and because the hand of God is on it, you're blessed by it, you're helped by it, and when I come back next week, you come back to hear me again because I'm helping you. So I want to give you the opportunity to give tonight. We give you 3 ways to give. Number one, you can give through the Cash App. Cash App's address is $ capital B, OLM, capital B, capital O, capital L, capital M, the word donate, DONATE, and the number 1. BOLM, donate 1. You can give through Givelify. Our Givelify address is Bonds of Love Ministries. And you can give through PayPal. Our PayPal address is lovecity, LOVECITY, @att.net. Your gifts are certainly appreciated, and I want to thank you in advance for any gift you've given, any gift you will give, and for the support you've given us down through the years. I love you guys with all my heart. I pray you've been blessed. Don't forget to join me Sunday morning, 10:30, for our Sunday morning worship. Till next time, I'm Apostle Richard, reminding you, get up. God wants to do something in your life. I'll see you next time.
Come on, we almost got it. Come on. Get out of your seat. Yeah, come on, I see you.